This is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 6. Coverage you can count on.
Whether voting in person or dropping off their mail-in ballot, thousands of Central Floridians are having their voices heard tonight.
I feel like it's very important for everybody else to come out here and vote.
I really wanted the experience of voting on Election Day.
Now at 6, there's only 1 hour left before the polls close as local voters make their mark on this historic election. And with that single hour before polls close, Orange County has already broken records for voter turnout and ballots cast. Good evening, I'm Greg Warman.
And I'm Martha Sigalski. It's been a grueling election cycle, but people are still showing up right now to vote. We have a team of reporters spread out across Central Florida and in Tallahassee for you today. They're monitoring all the key races, the local turnout, and watching for any potential issues as we wait for results to start rolling in. We're going to begin tonight with Channel 9's Jeff Deal, who is live in Orange County. And Jeff, they've been dealing with some ballots that have been flagged for problems.
They have been. There's a canvassing board meeting going on in the building you see behind me. They had one ballot that they looked at from someone who had passed away, but that person had got it in the mail and postmarked before they died, so that ballot counted. There was another man, though, who had a handwritten mail-in ballot that he just decided to write himself and send in. That one was rejected. But really, these problem ballots just represent a small number of the votes that have actually been in and have already been counted.
Wow, that's going to be exciting. Meantime, Seminole County, 73% of the registered voters there have already cast their ballots. Lines have been short because of that, and there have been few issues reported in Seminole County. Channel 9 Seminole County reporter Jeff Lefkulich live at the Sanford Civic Center. And Jeff, you've been monitoring the polls there all day, and this is a county, and I remember you covering it, that was very red in 2016.
And Greg, as I've reported, the demographics here have changed significantly in the 4 years since the 2016 election. There is almost as many Democrats as Republicans who are registered to vote, but it's those non-party affiliated voters who will decide the outcome here.
Seminole County typically red, but there are those that are saying that there's more blue and it could be more purple. And
well, purple, yeah.
Nationally, they are really watching Seminole County to see how that breaks tonight. Now, as we get closer to the polls, closing election attorneys are staging in key states, including Florida, in preparation for legal challenges around the process and the outcome here.
Channel 9 investigative reporter Carla Ray live in Tallahassee for us tonight. And Carla, you spoke with a man who's had a front seat to this process before.
Yeah, he was here in 2000 when, of course, all eyes were on Florida. He knows the legal challenges that could come out of an election like this. The Florida Supreme Court is right across the street from where I'm standing. I'm at the Division of State, which is where a recount would be managed if we were to need one. And we know that attorneys have made their way here to Tallahassee just in case.
All right, Carla, I was there in 2000. It took 3 weeks before Florida was officially named to go into favor of George Bush. Now, depending on how close the presidential race is this time in Florida, a recount could be triggered. Here's how it works. A vote margin of less than or equal to 0.5% will lead to a machine recount. If that shows a vote margin of 0.25% or less, there will be a manual recount. You'll remember in 2018, Florida had manual recounts for U.S. Senate and Agriculture Commissioner. There was a machine recount in the race for governor as well, Martha.
And Greg, businesses in major cities have already boarded up, as you can see here, boarded up their windows over concerns of potential violence after the election. Law enforcement agencies across Central Florida are also on alert. And for the first time ever during an election, Orange County's Emergency Operations Center has been activated. Channel 9's Shannon Butler has been monitoring security preparations. She joins us live right now. Shannon, how are things looking so far?
Yeah, Martha, we are at a polling location in East Orange County. You can see behind me that the line here has been steady. It is still steady here just an hour before the polls close here. Law enforcement has been by checking on the location. I talked to the sheriff's office just a little while ago. They said so far they have not had any reported issues at any of the polling locations. Yesterday, we told you about that emergency operations center being activated for the first time during an election. That is where all of the information would come in if there was any issues that have to do with violence or any problems at any polling locations. The sheriff told us he didn't expect that anything would happen, but this was just in case. Here's what he told us yesterday.
We've been in very close contact with Bill Cal, Supervisor of Elections. We're monitoring social media. We've actually, for the first time ever during election, opened up our emergency operations center tomorrow, much like we do for a hurricane that will be fully staffed, and just paying attention to everything that's going on in Orange County and making sure that people can vote safely.
Now, the Department of Justice is also at several locations. That includes here in Orange County, just making sure that voters' civil rights are protected. So far, there have been calls into the hotline, a lot of them from Florida, but just normal stuff like glitches with voting machines. So far, so good here tonight. We are live in Orange County. Shannon Butler, Channel 9, Eyewitness News.
All right, Shannon, the presidential candidates have been busy today as they wait for election results to start coming in. President Trump made a visit to RNC Annex office, that's in Arlington, Virginia, this afternoon to thank campaign staffers. He's also been making calls and doing interviews from the White House, where he will wait for election results tonight with his family. His opponent, Joe Biden, started today stumping with members of the local carpenters union in his hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania. He and his wife will watch election results come in Wilmington, Delaware. And along with his running mate, Senator Kamala Harris and her husband, they also will be there. Harris, meantime, was in Detroit today to encourage people to vote and talked about how important the state of Michigan is to both these campaigns.
So I'm just here to remind people of Detroit that they are seen and heard by Joe and me, and also that they may actually decide the outcome of this race.
He spoke one-on-one with me by phone this afternoon about the importance of winning those 29 electoral votes here in Florida, but he told me he is pretty confident they will do that just like they did in 2016.
We're literally hearing from around the country and around Florida a record turnout by supporters of this president. And again, I think it's because, 4 years ago when Florida said yes to President Donald Trump, it was promises made. Now it's promises kept.
The vice president told me that they believe they have support from the Panhandle all the way down to South Florida. We've also interviewed Mr. Biden and Kamala Harris during this whirlwind campaign through Central Florida. And tonight we will have you covered on all the day's major races. We'll bring you live coverage, in-depth analysis, and up-to-the-minute results. Watch Central Florida Decide starting at 7 on Central Florida's TV 27. It will also be streaming on WFTV Now, which is free on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire.
There are very few people in the U.S. who've waited on Election Day to find out if they will be president.
You hope that you've left everything on the field.
Next, we asked former presidential hopeful John Kerry what's going through a candidate's mind as they wait for the results.
Doppler Line Radar is driven by Toyota Orlando and Toyota Claremont.
It is an exclusive club. Only a few people in America know what it's like to run for the nation's highest office.
And today, Channel 9 political reporter Christopher He sat down with one of them, former Democratic nominee John Kerry, to ask what today.
And you'll remember back in 2004, all eyes were on Florida and Ohio. Well, this year it's Ohio and Florida, and as well as a half dozen other states that we're all keeping an eye on. Greg?
It really is about turnout, so there is still some time to go. Let's see, about 45 minutes. The campaign's looking for every single vote they can from any voter that hasn't already voted. And you had in your interview there, and again, we heard it from John Kerry, that, 500 people, 500 votes decided it back when he ran.
You know, and that's the key. We talk about today being Election Day, but it's really been election month. As of the polls opening this morning, 100 million people had already voted nationwide, with experts saying there's only about another 50 million votes still out there. And of course, a lot of those people in line right now. And if you're in line, stay in line and vote. Greg and Martha.
All right, Chris, thanks. Tonight, Brevard County voters will decide if they want to renew a half-cent sales surtax for schools. When voters first adopted the half-cent surtax back in 2014, the district began addressing $757 million of deferred maintenance and critical infrastructure needs. But the surtax expires at the end of the year, and the district says there are projects that can't wait. That could mean taking money from other areas to meet urgent needs. And in Volusia County, voters will decide whether to continue using property taxes to support art, cultural, outdoor, and historical projects. Volusia Echo and Forever were 20-year programs set to end in 2020. Echo has used more than $82 million to support more than 220 different projects since 2002. But some folks say there needs to be more transparency and accountability for how that money on some of the projects is being spent.
Let's take a live look right now. This is the Amway Center in downtown Orlando. Today, the Amway Center Twitter account said, over the last 2 weeks, we welcomed 15,563 Orange County voters into Amway Center to cast their ballot early. This was part of the NBA and the Orlando Magic initiative to make voting easier. And for those folks, it worked. And Tom Terry joins us now. And Tom, a beautiful night as the polls close in about, 42 minutes.
That's right. And the fountain is very patriotic tonight as well. Beautiful shot there. Nice day today. Couldn't pick a better weather day for getting outside. 69 now. Had 55 this morning. Our coolest of the season. We won't be as cool tonight, but very pleasant. Nice evening here as we get the last few votes in for this election go around. Nice night. We'll be in the lower 60s early on. We have a lot to keep track of, and accordingly, our rain chance is going to start to go up here. We'll be watching this and, of course, updating the latest forecast models for you on social media in between the next time I see you again after the elections. Here's your 5-day forecast. Weekend always a view, lower 80s. Pretty quiet weather tomorrow, maybe a quick coastal shower Thursday, then rain chance going up here, especially this weekend, coming possibly from the tropics. We'll be right back.
Download the WFTV weather app. Get a localized forecast from Tom Terry. Just search WFTV. Brought to you by the Law Offices of Attorney Dan Newland.
Watch Eyewitness News from any device with Eyewitness News live stream. Presented by Simply Healthcare. Enroll easily in a Medicare Advantage plan you can trust.
This sports segment is brought to you by Trial Pro. Discover the Trial Pro difference.
More than 500,000 people voted early in Orange County. 15,000 of them did so at the Amway Center, which became an early voting location thanks to the efforts from the Orlando Magic and the NBA players while they were at Disney in the bubble.
Yeah, Magic Center Mo Bamba and head coach Steve Clifford have both been passionate about this issue. Both of them were at the announcements when they said the Amway Center was going to be used, and they both worked at the polls, volunteers helping people cast their ballots, and overall across the league, 23 of the 30 arenas were used as early polling places.
Yeah, multiple players from the Magic posted their I voted stickers on social media. And the Magic are one of 20 teams in the NBA that had 100% of their players registered to vote. We recently spoke with head coach Steve Clifford on our podcast, and he talked about what it's been like to see the arena become a polling location.
It was great partnership.
So the 85,000 seat stadium will only be about 21% full. Greg, Martha.
All right, guys, thank you very much. And that was a nice effort. The Amway Center really did its job by being open. Some 15,000 people were able to walk in, no problem. So there you go. And the polls close in about 34 minutes. Thank you for watching. Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 6. ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is next.
And at 7 o'clock, you can watch Central Florida Decides on Central Florida's TV 27. Of course, we're going to be bringing you, Greg and I, live election results and in-depth analysis. It's also streaming on WFTV Now, which is free on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. We'll see you there.